Hey y'all, and welcome to episode 18 of the Unseen Strands podcast, a crochet and fiber arts related podcast where I, your host Mo, am visually impaired and will be sharing with you strands of my life. I come to you from central Iowa, where I live with my husband, our 4 boys, our 2 cats, and our dog. I'd like to say welcome back to any returning listeners this week, and then also a hearty welcome to any new listeners. Now, this week is going to be kind of light on the fiber content and just a little more heavy on the life, as life is just a little busy this week. So let's go ahead and jump into what I don't have for you this week. I have finished absolutely nothing since the last time I recorded. I really haven't, finished anything off since I finished my big button cowl, and I think I finished that before I posted the episode before last, so of course it got into last episode, but yeah, it's kind of unusual for me not to have finished something in that long of amount of time, but oh well, that is how life is, I guess. I've also not done really any spinning. I did get my wheel out yesterday so I could try and show you some progress, but yeah, my battery was dead, so I couldn't spin, which I could have plugged it into the wall, but I didn't feel like getting the plug out for that, and I'm not 100% sure I know where that is. So anyways, my battery should be fully charged now, so hopefully I will have some spinning for you next time we record. So that will bring us on to knitting, and I've pretty much taken the stuff that Katrina's Creations Knitting 101 class has to offer, and I'm kind of doing my own thing with it still. So we had I did the 10 rows of garter, and then the next thing was supposed to be 14 or 14 more, so maybe it was 15 rows of stockinette after we learned purl stitch. And so I went ahead and I did, I think, 10 rows of that, and then I'm debating on whether to do another 10 rows of the garter stitch and then the 10 rows of the rib stitch that was this week's challenge or whatever. I just saw the video today because they go up on Wednesdays, and I'm recording on Wednesday. So I haven't done that yet, but that's just kind of what I'm thinking I'm going to do instead of just jumping into the rib stitch from here. Of course, her thing is like a sample square or something that was 50 stitches wide, and I'm only doing a dishcloth or something that is 20 stitches wide, so that's why I'm doing mine a little bit differently, but still kind of incorporating the different things she's trying to teach us. So yeah, I haven't found that I can use her videos 100% to learn how to knit, but it is giving me the, I guess, nudge to keep moving because I would love to be able to knit, as I've said before, but so many mental blocks on that whole dropping stitches, and I've ripped this out and restarted so many times. And I am using needles that I have gotten from my stepmother-in-law. She was going to donate them to Goodwill and thought it might be easier for me to learn on a circular knitting needle. So that is pretty much the only reason I even have these knitting needles, and the reason that I have no idea what size or anything any of these are. I'm sure if there was any indications on the needles at one point, they're probably long gone now, since again they came from her stash of supplies. So she's been knitting for I don't even know how long. I mean she's like a champion knitter. So I know I had asked her if she had ever knit socks before, and she talked about back when she was married to her previous husband, so that kind of tells you how long that, she's been knitting for, since, she's on husband number 2, and we were all grown when our parents basically split up and remarried. So, yeah. That's kind of the story behind, the origin of my knitting needles, and why I don't really share with you what they are or what size they are, because I have no idea. I just know that that's what I'm using. because they're the circular, which I think is kind of easier for me to control than I had found with the regular stick needles that I'd used in the past. So anyways, let's move on. Oh, I did have a spinning thing to share with you. So I finished untangling. Yeah, and I found a new setting or settings in my editor, and yeah, so you might actually get some pictures that are a little more truer to color. I still had trouble with this because I found the settings after I had already edited once, so I couldn't really do a whole lot. But yeah, I pretty much found these different settings on the last picture I had to edit, and then I tried to go back to a couple and kind of touch them up a little bit, but didn't get very far in that process. So yeah, I got these a little truer to color because what I found is the camera wants to make them warm, because that was the setting that I turned down that actually made them look a lot better. Was I made it a lot cooler of an image, and that brought out a lot more of the blue instead of the like greeny, which is more of an undertone but seems to really stand out in the camera. But yeah, yay, I finally untangled all of my, well, like 600 yards of basically a fingering weight yarn. Yeah, not real fun. And as you see, it split more than once, twice, 3, 4 times. There's actually a knot in my bigger skein, or like, there's a couple knots and a place where I originally had tied it together. So yeah, there's a lot more breaks in this than I would find usable if it wasn't something that I had made for myself. Well, I guess not that it's not usable, it's just a little more irritating than I would like to admit, but since it's mine, I'll move on past that. But yay, it's done, so now I can finally put it aside and find a project for it. So let's go ahead and move on to crochet projects. I really don't have a whole lot of progress to share with you. Like, I didn't even bother to take a picture of my homebody sweater because I think I've put in a total of like 5 rows on it. So yeah, not much of anything. And I do have my Mermaids Don't Run track socks, which is my summer, I guess, end of summer project that I'm working on. These are socks for myself in my own pattern, and I did finish basically the base part of the first sock and have moved on to the cuff of the second sock. And yeah, so I'm not quite halfway done with the first cuff or the second cuff. I am working these 2 at a time-ish, I guess, because since I got the first one done except for heels and toes, I'll go ahead and work the other one the same way, and then when I get to heels and toes, I'll know exactly how much yarn I have left to deal with, so I know if I need a different colorway or if I'm going to decide to try and see if some of my other yarns will work with it. Like I mentioned last week, or last time that I podcasted, my only issue with this is that since it is a 400 yards per 100 grams, it's a lot plumper of a yarn than my basic sock yarns that I'm getting from everyone else. And so yeah, it's plumper, so therefore I'm afraid to do heels and toes in a different color because it won't be as plump, and then it'll just be, I guess, a thinner yarn, so it'll wear harder, or that's my guesstimation. And it being a lighter weight yarn, or being the part of the sock that gets the most wear, it just seems a little backwards to me to do it that way. But I might do it that way anyways, just because I have leftover yarn that was from my husband's koi socks, and I just think that would be a really nice contrast color because it's kind of an aqua-y, turquoise, teal, that's the color I want, kind of a teal aqua-y color. And so I just think that would be a really nice color to go with it versus just the Mermaids Don't Run track colorway. And this is made by yarn from Once Upon a Corgi. You will notice that she is in a lot of my projects just because I had ordered these kind of in anticipation for these couple of projects that I knew was coming up when she had her birthday sale or anniversary, I don't remember. It's her birthday or anniversary. But yeah, so hopefully I will have these done. My anticipation is to have them done by the end of the year, or the end of the year, by the end of the month. And I am hoping that I can have them. I guess I would need to have them done maybe by next podcast. Fingers crossed. That might be pushing it a little bit. It's kind of catching up on me that the month is really drawing to a close, even though we have a little over a week and a half left. But yeah, it's getting caught up on us. So then we'll go ahead and move on to my other project that is with Once Upon a Corgi yarn. And that is the pumpkin pasties shawl that I'm doing. That's from EvenGaze. And I did find a couple little errors with the pattern. They're not like detrimental errors, and so I did finally get a message back from her, so she's looking at it, although there are a couple things I haven't actually told her yet. And I just kind of wonder, I'm sure she had these proofread or something, but there's one that I think is a spelling error, unless that's just the way they do it in the UK, but it shows up as a spelling error on my end, and I couldn't find anything that suggested that it wasn't a spelling error. So I think that there's a spelling error in the final. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to say something about a triple peacoat, and it says triple peaclot, or I don't remember what it is now, but it was not peacoat, which is I think what it's supposed to say. And then there was a couple times it's not mentioning to skip a stitch or an extra stitch, and yeah, just those tiny little things, but I can work past that, and I'm still making it quite lovely. I have ended the first actual full repeat of the pattern and just started the little 4-6 row repeat. Sorry about that, guys. The boys have absolutely no regard for me today, I guess, and just keep running through here, opening the doors and screaming at the top of their lungs. But yeah, I think I recounted that while I was not recording, and I think it is 8-row repeat or something that you will keep repeating until the shawl is finished. Now, there is supposed to be some color changing in this shawl, but it's not written into it. It's done with color coding on the pattern, and I'm just here to tell you guys, as designers, don't color code things and not give another option, because not everyone uses a color printer, and and not everyone uploads things as a PDF. So for instance, her pattern wasn't formatted right for my screen reader, so for some reason it reads everything as a run-on sentence. It writes everything as run-on words. It's even worse than run-on sentence. It's literally just no spacing, even though I know I looked at it and it looked clear like there was spacing. But it reads it as if there is none, and you can go, I had to copy it and put it into a text program, and yeah, there is no spaces in there, so I'm going in there trying to figure out what the pattern is by entering spaces where I know there should be spaces. And yeah, so I don't have any of the color coding, for one, because my screen reader program didn't show it in the first place because I use inverted colors, and that wouldn't show when I copy the text and repaste it into a different program. So I have absolutely no idea where I'm supposed to change colors, so just a little FYI for designers when you are changing colors, even though I can totally understand where it sounds like the greatest idea ever to use your color change for the pattern in different colors, because it sounds totally a fantastic idea to me, but I can't use it. So yeah, don't just rely on that or make it another little note like rows blah 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 are worked in a different color, because just that little note would have been enough for me to know where I'm supposed to be changing colors. But since I don't know, I think I'm just going to use my one color. I don't know if I'll go till I run out or till I get near running out, because it does say to use about 300 grams of the one, and I kind of would like to see if I can use this for another project too. And then I'm thinking that I might switch to this other colorway that I got from Once Upon a Corgi. This is a different base. The main color that I'm using right now is in the Fairy Saddle colorway, and then that is the 75 Corriedale 25% nylon base. And then this other color that I got, which is Warm and Cozy or Warm and something, but it's a 100%, I believe it's Polworth base. So it is a different sheep breed, and I had purposely done that because I was going to use it for a different project, and that's kind of what I would still like to use the remainder, if I have remainder for, but I thought I might do the main part of the shawl in the Fairy Saddle colorway and then switch for the last couple repeats, or at least a repeat, for the Warm and, I think it's Warm and Cozy colorway. But I did take a picture so you can kind of see what it looks like. I did order some stuff from Bad Wolf Girl Studios when she's having her moving sale. I'm not 100% sure if that's still going on because I know she's got her wedding and moving, not her wedding, but a wedding she's in, and her moving date is coming up. I think it was this weekend, unless it was last weekend, but I think it was this weekend because I think it kind of coincided with the baby's birthday. But I had ordered a couple colors from her, and I think it was a misdyed or a misfit of the Hagrid colorway, and it's a kind of purplish with a shimmer. I didn't take a picture of that one, but I think that might also make a good option as something to kind of do on the edge of this, because it kind of has that shimmer in it, because it does have the, I think it was Silver Stellina that was in that one, and I just think that might also just be kind of a nice little touch for an edging, because it's, you know, like in deep purple color and just kind of different. But I also really like the way the Warm and Cozy color looks, so I don't know. I should have taken a picture with the other one, but I thought of it like that they would go together way after I took the picture. So maybe if I can get my husband to show me or leave that bloggy touch thing in the house, because I found out he had it in the car, that's why I couldn't find it. But yeah, if I can get that sometime, I can show you them all together, like in different lighting, so you can actually maybe see what they look like instead of my poor, terrible living room lighting that is absolutely horrid. But yeah, anyways, on to our last work in progress for this podcast. I started a test project. I decided that I would share it with you since it's undescriptive at the moment. You can't really tell what it is or, you know, steal anything, I would think, from my progress. And yeah, I had a lot of trouble again with the colors on my camera and showing this right. But this is just your basic red color from Sugars and Cream. I am using an E-hook as it isn't stuffy. Can you guys tell that I'm catching myself because I want to say the word and I can't say the word? But yeah, so I'm working, you know, the Sugars and Cream with an E-hook, and this will be hopefully a toy for the boys. And I have done a test for this designer before, and so that's kind of, I'm imitating what I did before, but this will be a different creature this time. And so yeah, that's kind of why I decided I'd share with you, because there wasn't a whole lot you could really tell from my little work in progress photo on this one, except for the fact that I'm working something red, which I want to finish again by the end of the month so I can enter this guy into the read along. And pretty much I am working it in red just because I have a lot more red, and red is a really easy color in the Sugars and Cream to get a hold of if I do run out. So yeah, that is my last work in progress for today. So we'll go ahead and we'll move on to life. As I mentioned last time, it's been a real struggle, and you got the very start of it last episode, and now you're getting more of the tail end, I want to say, of just a really terrible, bad week. I'm gonna try not to cry. I feel really bad because it seems like everyone is posting their depressing episodes recently, but yeah, like I said last time, Leo's discovered that he can crawl out of their little play yard. And 90% of the time this isn't a huge issue, but he wants to get into everything, and I've discovered that if I have both boys out, it's just total chaos. But if only one is out at a time, it's a lot more manageable. They like to run in separate directions and get into things, but if there's only one out at a time, they will, well, Zane still likes to get in trouble no matter what he's doing. But Leo will kind of settle down and quit trying to get into things if Zane's not around. But it's not like Zane's not around because he's like a foot away from me. He's just got a fence around him. But yeah, so that's just been a struggle in trying to just get everything settled in the house and, you know, not be so overwhelming. But I had lots of overwhelming episodes last week. And then the worst of it, okay, trying to recompose here. There was a day last week where I have my wedding ring doesn't fit on my wedding finger because, you know, 12 years later, 4 children, yeah. So I don't wear it all the time, and I've discovered it fits fairly well on my pinky, so I have been wearing it a lot more recently than I was wearing it, and I had it up on the counter after a shower and forgot to put it back on, and so I had left it there. Didn't really think about it. It had fallen off of the counter, and I knew it fell off, but yeah, okay. I had my ring on the counter. Usually I put it in the drawer. I knew something fell off the counter, but I couldn't find whatever it was, and when I found something, it was one of the dog's tags that had fallen off that we actually thought was lost, but I found it in the couch like months later. And it took me a while to put this all together, but yeah, so something fell off the counter. It was a day or two later, and Leo had ran into our bathroom, and I heard something, but I really didn't place the sound until later. And I am 99.9% sure Leo found my wedding ring on the ground and threw it in the toilet. And I realized it 2 days later that that is probably what happened, and now I have no wedding band. So it's just been super stressful because it was a engagement ring wedding band. So not only was the wedding band part special, but the engagement ring had a sapphire that was my husband's mom's. I mean, she's still with us, so it's not quite, I guess, as heartbreaking as if she wasn't here with us still, but sapphire is my, like, favorite stone, and yeah, hopefully I will have put a picture up that was from our wedding and has the picture of the ring in it. But yeah, it's just, oh, I promise you, I have cried this out so many times in the last few days that I was hoping I'd be beyond this point, but it just breaks my heart that it had to be that ring. So on the good side, I had another ring that I wore for our wedding just as wedding jewelry. That was kind of the Mother's Day because our anniversary is right around Mother's Day. And in fact, like this year it was on Mother's Day, just kind of depends on the year. But I have a ring that was the Mother's Day. Is it Kay's? I think it was Kay's jeweler. Like they always have a item that's a special price. So this was like a $50 maybe version. I don't remember. But it was, you know, their special cheap ring. And so I had gotten that because instead of the blue sapphire, I have a pink sapphire. So I found that I couldn't wear these two rings together because the bands got really bulky on my left hand because it does fit ish. It's a little big on my ring finger now, but at least I have something still from my wedding that I can wear, just not my wedding band. And of course, this is just a lab created sapphire, so it's pink, but it's not, you know, super like flashy or anything. And yeah, it's just rough when you think of having to replace something that's that irreplaceable, I guess. And that's, you know, not cheap. So I'm not sure what we'll do or when we'll do it, but yeah, just don't let your children walk into your bathroom and hear something splash, but you don't really think about it because you just think he spits in the toilet, because what little kid doesn't spit in the toilet? And then realize 2 days later that your wedding ring was what went splashed in the toilet. Well, it looks like I edited out part of what I needed to record for this next part, or at least it got recorded over or something. But yeah, so I can at least end you guys on a more happy slash funny fiber story. So the other day when I did my last podcast, I took the pictures, I had left the fiber spinning project out. I have kind of this little corner of the living room it sits in, so I just kind of left it out there, not thinking anything of it. And it turns out that Sona had gotten into it. Okay, let's try to retake this part again. So yeah, we've had Sona for a little over a year. She was 6 or 7-ish when we got her. We rescued her from the Animal Rescue League here. And so yeah, it's been a year, so she's now 7 or 8. And so she's not a puppy. And she absolutely has very little interest in most things. Like, the only toy we've ever gotten her to show any interest in is a tennis ball. And she, like, has to warm up to treats and things. She just won't go to anything. She gives everything a suspicious eye, I guess. And so to find out that she was taking little nips at my camel fiber, just randomly, was very different. She didn't get very much of it. Like, she didn't just tear into the whole thing, but she definitely was like gnawing away on little whiffs of camel fiber. And I'm just like, you know, she has never shown any interest in yarn or fabric or fiber of any sort. So yeah, at some point I think I might have to make her something out of some kind of covered up camel fiber or something to see if she'll maybe play with it or, you know, cherish it or something. Because yeah, it was just totally funny to see that Sona had shown interest in something other than the nothing that she tends to like. And now finally, to see if I can get some of these things for you, we went to our Renaissance fair over the weekend. And we took the boys, and so if I can get the videos from my husband, because he put them on his YouTube channel as private, and then found out you have to do, I don't even remember what the other option is, unlisted maybe? So that you can just send the link to people, but it's like, I need to be able to actually have the file so I can share clips with you guys, because we let the kids battle each other, well, at least Jeremy and Sam, and it was hilarious. And Sam got to be the dragon with one black eye, and it was totally hilarious. Like, oh, it was some great little acting, and if I can get some of those clips for you, I will play them at the end, and well, after our little closing uh, music. And lastly, the little boy's birthday. So the twins' birthday is on Friday. So hopefully I will get this up by then. But just in case I don't, their birthday is last day of summer. So they will be turning 2. So technically Leo has started his terrible 2s a little early. But as we all know, it doesn't really get terrible till 3. So it'll just be interesting to see where things progress from here. Good grief, and now they decide that it's time to go to the park. Oh boy, so once we finally get to the closing is when they decide that it's time to go out and do something and not bother me. Yeah, so we have the twins' birthday this weekend, and we don't really know anyone with little kids their age around, and my mother-in-law always gets so annoyed with me that we don't have like big flashy parties for them. And I guess I just don't understand, because the only people like right now that we have to party with would be her, my father-in-law, which is Rob's dad. So yeah, that's the stepmother-in-law, if I didn't say that clearly before. And my husband's mom and his stepdad. And you know, this a party with a bunch of old people is just not a party. I'm sorry, but you know, we invite them to the big boys parties and things, but 90% of the time this particular set of grandparents doesn't show. And like, they did show up to the last one, so that was kind of miraculous. But it's like, I don't want to plan something for people that 90% of the time don't show. And I don't know. So I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know if we're going to do anything really official for the birthday. I mean, we're going to have gifts for them, and we'll have some kind of little party when I go back home to see my parents, because on my side of the family, birthdays are important. And, you know, we go out, granted, we go out to somewhere not that great, but, you know, we get to go out and the kids get to all have fun and play together. And my mom can't really travel over here right now because she's got some health issues. That kind of the 4-hour journey is just a really long journey. So yeah, she can't come out here right now because my dad's in Chile, and my dad can't come here right now because, again, he's in Chile. So, and he usually is kind of the person that would help transport and things. So even if we tried to do something in the halfway point, which we usually consider to be Iowa City-ish, yeah, he can't do it right now, or she can't even do that right now easily because my dad's not around, and they're not married anymore. But my dad still helps out my mom a lot. I think it's a little bit of guilt on his part, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, he's definitely the reason they're not married anymore. No way of sugarcoating that. He doesn't have exactly the best ideas or ideals, or I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, my dad's not in the country, and so that kind of limits us having parties at the moment, because I'm not planning several parties. I don't have the money for it, and you know, they don't really care. So I have the little gifts for them, and really that's right now all that we really have planned. My husband does have their birthday off, so we might try, and I know there's an orchard that's not too far away, or you know, I don't know, because next weekend I think is the weekend that my friend is coming back over so she can go to a conference, but she's going to a conference, so I think she's at that all day for both days. But if she's not there all day for both days, there's a chance we could plan something with her, because you know, she would enjoy going out and celebrating with us. But then again, you know, she's going to be really tired too. So it's just that you know, I don't I don't know. I hate trying to please family that are unpleasable. And I've got so much stress going on at the moment. It's getting better, but things are stressful, and why people have to make it more difficult, I don't know. They don't want to understand you, and they don't try to, and that just kind of aggravates me because I try to understand everybody and ask questions when I need to know something, and people get really turned off by that, and I just don't understand. Okay, so the boys have the walkie-talkie, and I just heard some little squeaking coming over from the walkie-talkie. Um, but yeah, guys, so anyways, we'll go ahead and close this up and stay tuned, hopefully. Otherwise, I'll try and cut this out. Um, and we'll hopefully have some little clips for you at the end. At least we will have Leo talking to the microphone, which is humorous in and of itself. Although I will warn you, it is very loud, so either turn down your settings. I mean, some of it is because when he was talking to the microphone, he was literally on top of it. So apparently it picks up really well if you're like screaming directly into it without an inch between you and the microphone. But it was so cute because he got up on my lap and saw the microphone and just started talking into it. And he was just having a wonderful time with it. And then later that day, he started saying Google, which you might use Google too much when your not even 2-year old starts saying Google when the timer goes off. But I don't have that recorded. But I do have him talking to the microphone, and he's touching the microphone a lot of the time. So yeah, it's not super clean audio, but I just thought it would be fun for you guys to hear little Mr. Leo make a noise. So you'll at least have that, and maybe some clips of the Renaissance Fair. And yeah, I think that's all this week, guys. So, as usual, the Cakewalk Cat is still going on and still going strong. If you would like to get in on that, it is either over in our Unseen Strands podcast Ravelry group, or you can also participate in either or both on the No Catchy Name Crochet Talk Facebook page, which is by Ella. And yeah, I don't know how the Facebook stuff works. I don't even try to do Facebook because it's so aggravating to me, but that's why I asked Ella to co-host this with me so that we could kind of get more of you involved. And that will be going on for a little less than a month now because it does end on my birthday. So I don't know. I was planning on doing a podcast on my birthday, but then I realized that doesn't really make sense because I need to pull prizes on the 15th and not the 14th. So I don't know. Maybe we'll still do Blogtober, and so you'll still get that podcast on the 15th when we actually pull for prizes. We'll see. Just stay tuned for more information, I guess. And as I mentioned before, my Etsy shop is back up and running. It is either hookedonmose.etsy.com or Mose Crochet. Either one works. I opened the store originally as Mose Crochet, which is why that's what the account is under, but I changed my shop name, and so yeah, you can still access it with the Hooked on Mose or Mose Crochet. And right now I did get up all of the nylon net scrubber listings. I got all the strips up for the nylon net scrubbers. Jeez, I cannot talk. And all that is they are bags of 12 strips of the nylon net strips that I have cut myself. I just thought you guys might like to know about it since, you're my crafty people. There are some listings, and they'd be the ones with a fewer quantity that don't have all the color options in them. It's just that color. And I really need to go back through and figure out what I have and what places like Joann still sells for the net, because I haven't bought net since we moved, or at least I don't think I have. And so it's been a long time since I've bought net, so I kind of need to figure out what I have, what I can actually get for you. So the listings that had more than one option, I just kind of left that and boosted the quantity so you can get more than one. And then the ones that were more specific, I did lower the quantities, so since I'm not for sure that once that color is out, if I'll be able to get more of it. But yeah, so I got all those listings that I've had in the past back up, and I just think that's a fun craft item for you, and I thought I'd try to kind of highlight those when I have them in the podcast. And as for other social media, you can find me as Hooked on Mo's on Twitter and Facebook, as well as Mo's Crochet on platforms such as Ravelry, Goodreads, Pinterest, and Instagram. So anyways, guys, we'll go ahead and let you go. I hope you liked this episode, and if you did, I hope you hook the like button and subscribe. Talk to you later, guys. Can you say hello?
Hello.
I don't think the computer will talk back.
Hello. Hello.
What else do you have to say? What is that? What? Oh, is there a butterfly there? What's that?
Two, one.
3, 2, 1. Blast off! 3. You had to say 2, 1. Or you can say 1, 2, 3. You turned it off. Oh, maybe you didn't flip the switch. I thought you did. Say hello. Leo. Say hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
My name is Leo.
Hello.